Unexpectedly, I got pregnant by a former rowing champion. Because of my special body condition, I couldn't terminate it. I always thought I kept it secret well, until 4 years later, he hung a gold medal around my daughter's neck. Then, on a live stream, my daughter sweetly said, "Thank you, Daddy. I'm a paparazzo, the kind notorious for sneaky photos." Today, I got a tip that Sue, a rising star famous for her innocent image, was having dinner at the Rose Hotel. Dinner? At a hotel? Yeah, right. I quickly threw on a wrinkled delivery guy uniform, jumped on my bike, and headed over there. At 10 p.m., Sue came out of the hotel with a man. That's it. I thought we'd be waiting till midnight. I raised my camera swiftly. Sue's late night rendezvous with a mysterious man, coming Monday. Post a teaser, then wait for her agent to come buy it from me. Mom's dialysis for next month, secured. Wait, isn't that face? Isn't he the former rowing champion John, who just unexpectedly capsized and lost his gold medal at the Olympics? John, are you crazy? Do you know what your status is right now? You're ruining your career. If this gets confirmed, the reigning champion, failing to win a medal, rushes home to sleep with a rising starlet. You'd be drowned in public disdain. I quickly scanned the area. Thankfully, the few peers lurking around didn't have as good positioning as me. They probably didn't get a clear shot of John's face, and even if they did, they might not recognize him. Me and medical bills. I bit my lip, stowed my gear, and dashed forward. Jumped up suddenly, hugged John, covering his face, and swiftly dragged him into the hotel's VIP passageway. John, you're lucky to have a fan like me. You. No time to talk. Swipe the card. For some reason, a sudden burst of anger surged inside me. You. John seemed surprised to hear my voice. Swipe the card. Didn't you hear me? The elevator ascended slowly, leaving just the two of us in the cramped space. John, can't you hold back? Capsizing in the finals. I know you're upset, but the Olympic hype is still there. You're a public figure. Even stress relief has to be timed. Before I could finish, the elevator doors opened. Wait, we're directly entering a room. Is this the fabled presidential suite occupying an entire floor? John really splurged for Sue. I pointed at his nose. Sleeping with Sue is risky. So many paparazzi are watching her. She's my sister. John suddenly interrupted me. She's my sister. Same father, same mother. Today is a family dinner. My parents are probably still downstairs. Silence filled the presidential suite. Well, just pretend you never saw me. I lowered my helmet, ready to leave, but the suite was too big to find the door easily. And worse, John blocked my way. How many gold medals have I won? 4 major ones. 1 at the Olympics, 3 at the World Championships, and others. When did I win my last gold medal? This year, May 7th, Serbia, Belgrade, World Rowing Cup. When was my first gold medal? 5 years ago, September 5th, Los Angeles, USA, Rowing Championships. What is this? A paparazzi certification exam? Just as I was puzzling over it, John suddenly reached out and took off my helmet. I was enveloped in his aura. My heart rate spiked. You're right. My pressure is immense and needs release. The world's top athlete's stamina is no joke. I experienced it deeply, but the next morning, I managed to gather my reassembled body and slipped away. Just as I was about to get some medicine, a message from Faye popped up. 5 a.m. What's up with this guy? Lucy, you often write for sports magazines, right? Got a big job. Interested. Faye, president of John's global fan club. Typical rich and beautiful. Me, vice president, totally broke. Since we share the same interest, she often introduces gigs to help me out. No need to explain. As long as the pay is good, I'll write anything. I need money. I also need work to numb myself. A publisher wants to do John's autobiography. He'll narrate. You write. Your Chinese major background is perfect. Hearing John's name after last night, my heart twinged a little. He didn't defend his title. Why an autobiography? My tone involuntarily turned bitter. He's handsome, still commercially valuable. Faye seemed prepared for my question. Also, none of this matters. Just tell me. 10 grand up front. You in? In. Great. This afternoon, let's meet at the Rose Hotel Cafe. You, me, John, and his agent. Rose Hotel again. He's there again. With who this time? Doing what? My heart felt a bit sour. Will he recognize me this afternoon? What am I thinking? Every time I go undercover, I disguise myself beyond recognition. He surely won't recognize me. But just in case, let's get a wig. But first, I need to wash away his traces from last night. Rose Hotel, 28th floor. John and I both arrived 10 minutes early. Today he wore a simple white t-shirt, fresh and vibrant. Like the most popular boy in college, impossible to look away from. He glanced at me lightly, his eyes sweeping over my flashy pink wig, and then landing on my thick and fading makeup. He frowned. Yeah, I noticed last night. His taste is very traditional. I'm the vice president of your fan support club, Lucy. I suddenly stuttered a little. Hi. An awkward silence spread in the air. I took out my phone, about to ask Faye why she wasn't here yet. Suddenly a message popped up. Boat number 1 requests to add you as a friend. Note, last night, John. I instinctively looked up at him. He had no expression. What do you want to drink? The pricey stuff. Embarrassing. John was silent for a few seconds. 2 cups of geisha. Faye messaged me, saying that she and John's agent were stuck in traffic, and asked us to talk first. But John kept staring at his phone, clearly not interested in talking to me. I had to use this downtime to settle last night's issue with him. You've added boat number 1. You can start chatting now. John's expression suddenly became serious. About last night, let's pretend it never happened. Be my girlfriend. What? Is he out of his mind? Wasn't it just a fling? He doesn't even know my name. No need. No need. It was worth the price of admission. What am I even saying? I know this is sudden, but I'm serious. I will show you how serious I am. I took a deep breath. Time to handle this professionally. John, first, I need to clarify that there's no emotion between us. It was purely a fling. We're not suitable for each other. Let's just consider it a beautiful accident and part ways amicably. Second, you don't need to feel pressured because you slept with a fan. It was consensual. I don't feel any kind of unequal power dynamic, nor do I think you violated any professional ethics. Don't feel burdened. Lastly, we're both adults. You don't have to worry about any legal risks. If need be, I can even give you a written promise. Having worked as a paparazzi for so many years, what haven't I seen? I could write a book on handling one-night stands. I typed a bunch of stuff, and John's face turned darker and darker. Maybe you need my health report too. Almost forgot that. What do you take me for? A one-night stand partner. I replied with the standard answer. John suddenly smashed his phone on the table. Why is he so angry? Where else could he find someone as good as me who doesn't cling? Maybe because I was replying to messages and ignoring him. I put down my phone and sat up straight. So, you're a freelance writer? He asked coldly. I'll sort of. Every time I expose something, I write a 140-character Facebook post for the subject. Sometimes even adding a poem. How is that not writing? I've read your previous articles. Chasing Dreams on a Lone Boat, Bravery Knows No Boundaries, and Riding the Waves, Moving Upstream. You know a lot about me. I was also on the youth rowing team, but I gave up later. John's face softened a bit as he looked at me. My training schedule is pretty tight. I can only spare 1 or 2 hours each weekend. You might need to be on standby. No problem. I'm quite busy lately. We'll get in touch when I'm free. And about the payment earlier. He added my card, and 10 grand instantly showed up. Top-notch professional athletes are really rich. Faye and John's agent couldn't make it in time. I'll drive you home. He checked his watch. No need. No need. I pointed to the motorcycle outside. I have a ride. The next time I saw John was more than 2 months later. He had won another gold medal at a rowing World Cup event, proving the doubters wrong. The gossip after the Olympics had gradually died down. According to what I knew, his skills were already world-class. His previous loss was just bad luck. But that's how competitive sports work. It's brutal and full of uncertainties. Luck is also a kind of strength. We still met at the Rose Hotel, this time at the Cloud Top Seafood Restaurant on the 68th floor. Looks like he has a yearly membership here. Over the last 2 months, maybe because of the heat, celebrities didn't go out much. I staked out a few villas, but the security was too tight. Didn't capture anything valuable. Mostly, I'd been organizing John's autobiography outline and interview questions, but I've been feeling inexplicably tired every day. You don't look so good. He looked at me. Overworking lately? No big deal, I answered vaguely. Maybe just not sleeping well. And yet you drink coffee. He took the Starbucks cup from me and turned to the waiter. Cancel the alcohol. 1 fresh squeezed orange juice, no ice. I handed the outline to John. Your handwriting is beautiful. His gaze rested on the flamboyant boat number 1 on the cover. This online alias of his actually makes a pretty good book title. It's kinda funny. Thanks. So, today we'll talk about how it all started. From the youth rowing team selection. Both John and I were selected for the youth rowing team, but we belonged to different clubs. His club was top tier, mine was at the bottom. Our training grounds were next to yours, but much smaller. I spoke with a hint of nostalgia. We often went to learn from you, like sneaky students peeking at geniuses. Yes, every Wednesday morning and Friday afternoon. How does he know? Actually, John looked at me, hesitant. Just then, the waiter arrived with the food cart. John truly understood my needs, always picking the expensive stuff. Here are your Australian lobster, king crab, and bluefin tuna. I suddenly felt a wave of nausea covering my mouth. I rushed to the restroom. I threw up terribly. I didn't get to eat, and the interview was a bust. John didn't say much. Just had the waiter pack up all the good food and sealed it up tightly. I'll give you a ride. No need. With your condition, you probably shouldn't ride a bike. I had no choice but to get into John's sports car. If I throw up in here, selling me wouldn't cover the cost. Sorry about this. Next time, I'll get a more comfortable car. I felt awful and could only nod and close my eyes. John said nothing, deep in thought, as if calculating something. Almost at my place, I suddenly had a thought and opened my eyes. John, can you stop at the convenience store up ahead? Lucy, are you pregnant? Faye, I'm pregnant, and it's all your fault. I cried into the phone. What, Lucy, do you hear yourself? Faye sent over 5 baffled emojis. What's going on? It's about that guy I told you about, I sighed. I was going to get the pill after that day, but you called me early in the morning about John's biography, and I got so busy I forgot. Mentioning John made me feel worse. It's all his fault. It's all my fault. A few bucks could have solved it, and now it's going to cost me thousands. I wanted to cry but couldn't. Lucy, don't panic, Faye stammered. Don't do anything rash. I'm not. The doorbell rang unexpectedly. I went to the door, peeked through the peephole, and saw John. This is ridiculous. I can't keep this baby. He's only 20, still a kid, not even old enough to marry. Mumbling, I opened the door for him. Since he figured out I was pregnant, no point in hiding it. After all, he didn't know he was the father. I'll take you to the hospital. He grabbed my phone and hung up the call. We're going now. John switched cars, probably so I wouldn't vomit in the sports car. I closed my eyes, and my chaotic thoughts started to clear. John's moving way too fast today, but I am not ready to get rid of the baby today. Also, I haven't told the top rower yet. I opened the chat box. There's something I need to tell you. A red exclamation mark popped up. He'd already deleted me. A celebrity news alert popped up. Actress Ruby confessed her love, saying Olympic champion John is her ideal type. The image showed them in an ad together. They looked perfect for each other. We're from different worlds. I sighed. Whatever, nothing more to say. Is the baby your boyfriend's? John's voice broke my thoughts. John, I don't want to talk about this. Don't you think he should know? We're from different worlds. I felt a pang of sadness. How so? John, I really don't want to talk about this. I turned away, closed my eyes, and forced back tears. Fine, okay. His voice was cold as ice. I looked at the white building of hospital and hesitated. This private hospital was notoriously expensive. I couldn't afford it. John, this place is too pricey. Get out. I don't have that kind of money. Get out. What's his problem? Does being unwed and pregnant disgust him that much? That night, could you lend me some? I'll pay you back later. You should go. It's not right for you to be seen here with a girl. If someone sees us. John didn't speak, grabbed my hand, and dragged me into the hospital. John, shut up. John seemed to know the staff well. After a few words, a nurse led me to a VIP consultation room. He stayed outside, talking on the phone, probably to give me some privacy. May I ask, can I pay for the examination in installments? Aren't you John's girlfriend? Our hospital is under his family's ownership. The nurse looked puzzled. I was stunned. John's family is wealthy. Oh my God, my baby's going to inherit a fortune. Do wealthy families care about lineage? Will they freak out if I abort their heir? I quickly pulled out my phone, trembling as I opened the chat box of the top rower. I think I should tell you something. I hadn't finished typing when John came over, looking tense. I got scared and my phone slipped and fell to the floor. John walked in. I spoke with Dr. Smith. She'll check you out shortly. Congratulations, you're 13 weeks pregnant and the fetus is developing well, with all indicators healthy. Dr. Smith came in with a report, a professional smile on her face. But you've been a bit stressed lately, so rest more. I glanced at John instinctively. He stood by the window, expressionless, as if he didn't care about our conversation. He didn't seem to want to leave, though. Doctor, can I go home and rest today, and come back tomorrow for the surgery? I'm not ready. Maybe it was my imagination, but the chief doctor glanced at John too. She seemed to think he should leave. Lucy, we found something during your checkup. Your uterine wall is thin and slightly adhered from before. The chief doctor's tone turned serious. If we perform the surgery, it'll be risky, and could mean you can't get pregnant again. I sat motionless in the consultation room, hands cold. I clutched the ultrasound report. The blurry image represented a new life, my future responsibility. I'm about to become a mother. This sudden identity shift completely caught me off guard. This might be my only child, but I'm totally unprepared. Fear and anxiety are washing over me like a tide. At this moment, I really want to rush out and tell John everything. I want to tell him that I'm scared and helpless. I need him, but I can't ruin him. He's in his prime competitive state, a main player on the national team, and the most promising contender for an Olympic gold medal. He just turned 20. There might be a chance for a change. He has a more important mission. I can't be his burden. I can't let him lose everything because of me. Forget it. I tried to calm down and think carefully. If I don't consider John, what else do I need to have this child? Money. I took out my phone and searched in the browser how much it costs to raise a child. Looking at the results, I opened the chat box for number 1 crew. I need $1 million. Your friend request has been accepted. We can now chat. I need $1 million. I was thinking about how to explain this to him. Transfer from number 1 crew. Turns out, you can transfer up to 200,000 at a time. The single day transfer limit is this much. Come find me if you need more. So, this is the world of rich people. I looked outside the clinic at John. He was talking to the dean, looking very happy. To wealthy people, problems that money can solve are not problems at all. It seems like not telling him is the right decision. Sorry, I've got practice and can't take you home. John asked his agent to find Faye. Faye came over in a rush, taking the car keys from John as if they were familiar. Don't worry, I won't lose Lucy. Faye's driving skills were great. I slept all the way home. Faye, I grabbed her hand. Stay with me for a while. I'm still a bit flustered. We collapsed on the couch and turned on the TV. It was a replay of John's race, which I was watching for my autobiography homework. What are you thinking? Are you planning to stay unmarried but keep the child? Faye crossed her arms, looking at me seriously. Yes and no. So, your brother can't handle this. He's alright, actually. I don't want to badmouth John, but he had such a bright future ahead, and now a baby pops up. Wouldn't that ruin him? I also don't want to bind him with a kid. He clearly deserves better. And you, aren't you afraid of ruining yourself? Faye frowned. This is a health issue, I said helplessly. Otherwise, I would have just gotten the surgery. I looked at John on the screen. He was paddling hard on the water, sweat dripping down his chiseled face, the sunlight making him glow. That guy, I am kinda looking forward to his child. Lucy, Faye sighed, looking at me. You fool. At the very least, don't completely cut him off. She seemed to want to comfort me. What if you rekindle things in the future? You'd already have a flower girl. She paused, looking at me. And those problems you're worried about might not even be problems. You're overthinking it. My gaze drifted to the blue sea behind John. Talking about it, I fell asleep. I didn't even know when Faye left. Nor did I know she was called to the rowing training center by John's relentless calls right after. John, you're too much. I'm a dignified lady, president of N Corporation, and for you, I'm chasing Lucy, playing the role of fan club president, and now personal driver. The price I've paid is too high. Faye looked at John, who was icing his muscles, fuming. If you like her, just tell her. What's this supposed to be? Faye rolled her eyes. I didn't foresee this. I wanted to win the Olympic gold to seem more mature and reliable when I confessed to her. John looked a bit regretful. Then I met her that night, and I couldn't control myself. You couldn't control yourself. Faye's blood pressure spiked. The Olympic Village handed out millions. You didn't use any, didn't bring back even one. You could have bought some. You couldn't control yourself. Now there's a kid involved. She felt like laughing from frustration. So, what did she say? When can I propose? You're not even old enough. Everyone in the country knows about your age thing. I just want to know her thoughts. Well, seems she still doesn't trust me. Faye looked at John's grim face. Actually, I think you two aren't a good match. Faye chose her words carefully. You're too busy. For the next few years, all your time will be taken by training and recovery. You belong to the country, not her. Even if you're together, she'd barely be different from a single mom. John was silent. It was like a new realization dawned on him. Barely different from a single mom. Faye was speechless. I'm not talking to you anymore. She stood up. I have to go argue with your sister. She's rumored to be dating some celeb again. I'm about to explode. Should I send her a bouquet of lilies tomorrow as her brother? Go to hell. You there? Every night, at 10 p.m., a message from number 1 crew appears on time. Maybe because I owe him, or maybe Faye's words got to me. We've reconnected. I really think I love you. His message was straightforward. I can't believe my awkward performance that night left such a mark on him. But for him, you don't even know me. I tried to sound calm. You just found it fresh to be with your fangirl for a moment. Of course not, he replied firmly. It felt like my chest was stuffed with cotton, suffocating. But he didn't explain, quickly changing the subject. I asked my sister. She said, "You're the most ethical paparazzi. Several times celebrities offered a lot to buy your photos, but you never sold them. But other photos, you sold pretty fast. Actually, they just didn't pay enough. So, those viral pictures from my matches, yeah, they're your work, right?" I fell silent. You like me, I can tell from the photos. So what? I like you too. Can't you tell? You pro athletes live such simple lives. You don't even know what liking someone is. I forced a bitter smile at the screen. Pro athletes are humans too. You're underestimating me. When I was young, I liked a girl. She was from the club next door, and would always sneak over to watch me practice. But she was so bad at hiding and would always get caught. Every time she got caught, her face would turn red like an apple. She was passionate about rowing, or maybe just about life. She was like a ray of light that brightened my dull training days. She was special. I was stunned. And then one day she disappeared. I heard she thought the life of a pro athlete was too hard, and she was good at her studies, so she quit. That's not true, I silently protested. It's because I was poor. I was down for more than half a year. Then I decided to become the world's best in this sport, so she would remember me. You succeeded. Don't you think it's beneath you to talk about love with a paparazzo that everyone hates? I found the perfect excuse to refuse. I don't think so. I'm not that superficial. But I do. I closed the chat window, stared at the document on the computer screen. My fingers flew over the keyboard. Chapter 1, Youth, Sail High. When I was 20 weeks pregnant, I suddenly got a big job. The target was a popular rapper and a married actress. Both were famously hot-tempered, and I didn't really want to take it. But the actress's husband offered too much. I figured it would be my last gig before the baby. But maybe because of the pregnancy, I forgot to turn off the flash that night. You're asking for it. The rapper glared at me furiously, picked up something, and strode toward me. Mike, help me, I'm pregnant. I pleaded with the colleague who had come with me. He was quite decent and jumped in to stop the rapper, but the guy was too enraged. He couldn't hold him off. I frantically fled on my motorbike, not noticing the incoming truck. When I woke up, everything was white. I couldn't move. I instinctively touched my belly. Thankfully, the baby was still there. John fought for you. He beat that rapper bloody. Then the rapper reported him. He got into serious trouble, almost got kicked out, and was suspended for a while. If he doesn't win every remaining race, he won't make it to the Olympics. Faye's eyes were red. You guys, this love game, you really messed up. Faye looked at me with a complicated expression. So I told him, your baby didn't make it, and you need time to recover. He didn't respond. I knew. John never contacted me again. Everything about him disappeared, like a dream. 3 years passed. My life is now busy but calm. Thanks to Sue. She got me many gigs taking behind-the-scenes photos for teen romantic dramas, introduced me to a lot of work. Compared to being a paparazzo, though this job is quantity over quality and a bit tiring, it's stable. At least I don't have to worry every time I press the shutter. And I guess I do have a bit of talent. An actor Sue worked with for the 3rd time thought I captured his essence and signed me on. He even introduced me to a few commercial gigs. Now I can support the whole family and take care of my mom without issues. John and I have a daughter. Her formal name is Kathy. John's mom got her officially registered and sent over a super reliable nanny. She never mentioned custody. Kathy is adorable. She looks just like John. Whenever I see her, I can't help but think of him. Think about that ridiculous mistake, that unforgettable encounter. When I have work, I leave Kathy with Faye and Sue. When I'm free, Kathy drags me all day doing various water sports. She really has a talent. Even in preschool, swimming coaches were contacting me. After the Olympics, I'll let Faye take Kathy to see him. Maybe then I can see him from afar. John made it to the Olympics. His manager reached out to me, said the autobiography was still happening, so they sent me tickets. We hope to gather more material. If John wins gold, the book should sell well. In the preliminaries, John dominated, leading all the way. In the semifinals of Group A, with 500 meters to go, his boat seemed to hit a buoy, slowing down and losing balance. My heart jumped. Don't let history repeat. Fortunately, he adjusted in time, narrowly taking 2nd place in Group A and advancing. Compared to 4 years ago, John showed incredible power and stability, proving he's reached a new level. His stroke rate and efficiency improved. His rhythm was precise, needing not just strength, but skill and endurance. Though I silently prayed not to jinx him, what the commentator said was what I felt. Every second in the past, he hadn't wasted. Finals. The tension was at its peak. The reigning champion from the UK, Graham, is in the first place. Following closely is Oliver from Germany, who was the runner-up in last year's World Championships. Last year's champion was John from our country. He's currently in third place, but a bit behind Graham. In the last Olympics, John had a similar situation. There was a capsizing accident, and he couldn't defend his title. But we believe that after 4 years, John's skills have improved. Indeed, at 1,000 meters, the race has heated up. Graham is still leading, but John has overtaken Oliver and is closing in on Graham. Last 500 meters, John is making his move. You can see from the camera, he's leaning forward, muscles bulging, clearly giving it his all. He's passed Graham, he's crossed the finish line. 24-year-old John has won the gold medal in the men's single sculls at the Olympics. Tears blurred my eyes. John is walking towards the stands, his figure getting closer to me. I instinctively lowered my head. Dad, Kathy suddenly shouted excitedly. I just wanted to cover her mouth, but it was too late. John saw me. He tilted his head and smiled at me. He said a few words to the reporters next to him and then walked over to me. He took off his gold medal and hung it around Kathy's neck. Thank you, Dad. Then, he reached out his hand and hugged me tightly. He grabbed my head, and I struggled instinctively. Don't move. This is live. Then, he kissed me. I didn't know what John said at the press conference after winning. I just knew the hot searches were all about him. John has a daughter out of wedlock. John hit someone. John's baby mama was a paparazzo. John has a fling with a fan. John had a one-night stand. These 5 unimaginable topics kept trending, but John and his family had no intention of suppressing them. He just grabbed my hand with the diamond ring on it, pulled Kathy's little hand over, and posted a selfie. She said yes. Then, the trending topics changed to John's epic proposal comeback. John and fiancé are first loves. John is a pure lover. The photos taken during these Olympics were all used up. John was still holding me, unsatisfied. You're crazy. I weakly protested. I had to train. He lightly bit my earlobe, his voice husky and suggestive. Besides, think about it. How long I've held back. Shyness and sweetness intertwined. Stop talking. I tried to push him away, but he held me in his arms, completely powerless. I need to say, I love you. He picked up his phone. No, I need to order another box delivered. Really? No, I said with a sob in my voice, reaching for his phone. Seeing the photo on the screen, I was stunned. It was me at 14. I was sitting alone on a sailboat, back to him. That was the day I decided to give up. I was crying. That day, I planned to confess to you first. His voice trembled a bit, but after taking that photo, the coach called me away. When I came back, you were gone. Later, I saw you at Faye's hotel, and I was thrilled. That feeling of getting you back had me crazy with joy. I'm sorry. That night, I really lost it. I shouldn't have treated you that way, making you suffer all these years. His eyes, full of guilt and pain. I shifted my gaze from the photo to his face. Then, I took the initiative to hug him. Actually, you don't have to. Actually, he spread his hands, smiling softly. I won't make the same mistake again.